In a luxurious oceanfront mansion in Lagos, the most influential people in Nigeria gathered for an evening of glamour and generosity. The sprawling estate was a masterpiece of modern architecture, with floor-to-ceiling windows that offered breathtaking views of the Atlantic Ocean. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting shimmering light across the marble floors, while soft jazz music floated through the air. Every detail of the event screamed opulence, from the meticulously arranged flower centerpieces to the waitstaff gliding silently between guests with trays of champagne and hors d'oeuvres. The hostess of the night, Amina Ogunsh, one of the wealthiest and most powerful women in the country, welcomed her guests with regal grace. Her presence commanded attention. She moved through the crowd like royalty, her smile warm yet enigmatic. Amina was not just a socialite or philanthropist, she was a force to be reckoned with. Her charity galas were legendary, raising millions of dollars in a single night to help children suffering from malaria, fund scholarships for underprivileged youth, and support countless other humanitarian projects. But tonight was no ordinary charity event. It would go down in history as the most shocking moment of the year. As the clock struck midnight, the lights dimmed, and a spotlight illuminated the grand staircase at the center of the room. All eyes turned as Amina descended the steps, her entrance nothing short of cinematic. She wore a dazzling golden gown that shimmered like sunlight, its intricate beadwork catching the light with every step she took. Her hair was styled in an elegant updo adorned with delicate gold accents, and her jewelry, a pair of diamond earrings and a matching bracelet, sparkled with understated luxury. When she reached the stage, the room erupted into applause. Amina raised a hand to silence them, then lifted a glass of champagne, her movements deliberate and poised. For a moment, she simply stood there, letting the anticipation build. Then, with a calmness that sent shivers down everyone's spines, she spoke words that froze everyone in their tracks. "Friends, tonight I have something important to announce. After 20 years of marriage, I have decided to divorce my husband, Teyo Ogunsh." The room fell into stunned silence. Glasses paused midway to lips, conversations halted mid-sentence, and even the gentle hum of the background music seemed to fade into nothingness. Guests exchanged bewildered glances, unsure if they had heard correctly. Whispers began to ripple through the crowd, growing louder with each passing second. Teyo, who had been standing beside her on the stage, visibly paled. His hands tightened around his own glass of champagne, knuckles turning white. He leaned closer to her, his voice low but trembling with anger and fear. "What are you doing?" he hissed, his words barely audible over the murmurs of the crowd. Amina didn't flinch. Instead, she turned her head slightly, her piercing gaze locking onto his. Her expression was icy, her tone cutting like a blade. "Doing what I should have done a long time ago," she replied, her eyes gleaming like diamonds under the spotlight. For a split second, Teyo looked as though he might argue, but the weight of the situation, and the hundreds of eyes watching him, kept him silent. He forced a strained smile, attempting to salvage some semblance of composure, but it was too late. The damage had already been done. The room buzzed with speculation. Journalists scribbled furiously in their notebooks, photographers snapped photos, and guests whispered theories about what could have led to this sudden announcement. Was it financial trouble? A business dispute? Or something far more personal? No one knew the truth, not yet. But one thing was certain. Amina Ogunsh had just set the stage for a drama that would captivate the entire nation. The next morning, chaos erupted in Lagos. Amina Ogunsh was gone. Her sprawling mansion, which had been the scene of such glamour and intrigue just hours earlier, now felt eerily silent. The staff milled about nervously, unsure of what to do or say. When questioned by the police, none could offer a coherent explanation for her sudden disappearance. It was the housekeeper who first noticed something amiss. Amina's bed hadn't been slept in, and her favorite silk robe still hung neatly on the back of her bedroom door. On the bedside table, however, lay a single sheet of paper, a cryptic note written in Amina's unmistakable handwriting. "The truth always rises to the surface. Look where the moon shines." The words sent shivers down everyone's spines. What did it mean? Was it a clue? A warning? Or simply a poetic farewell? The police quickly launched an investigation, combing through every inch of the property. They searched the grounds, the gardens, even the private beach that stretched along the ocean front. But there was no sign of struggle, no trace of foul play. Just an unsettling void where Amina should have been. As news of her disappearance spread, the media frenzy reached fever pitch. Reporters camped outside the mansion, snapping photos and speculating wildly. Social media exploded with theories, hashtags like #WhereIsAmina trending across Nigeria and beyond. Some claimed she had fled due to marital troubles. Others whispered about darker possibilities, kidnapping, blackmail, even murder. Then came the bombshell. Investigators discovered suspicious activity in Teyo Ogun's financial records. In the weeks leading up to Amina's disappearance, large sums of money had been transferred from his accounts to offshore entities. While Teyo insisted these transactions were unrelated to Amina, the timing was damning. Headlines exploded across newspapers and television screens. Billionaire suspected in wife's disappearance. Did Teyo Ogun stage his own wife's vanishing act? Teyo found himself at the center of a storm he couldn't escape. Cameras followed him everywhere, capturing his every move. At press conferences, he pleaded his innocence, his voice cracking with emotion. "I love her. I would never harm her," he repeated over and over, his eyes red-rimmed from lack of sleep. "I don't know where she is, but I swear I'm doing everything I can to find her." But his protests fell on deaf ears. To the public, Teyo was guilty until proven innocent. Even their mutual friends began to distance themselves, unwilling to be associated with someone under such dark suspicion. Behind closed doors, Teyo's world crumbled. Business partners cut ties, fearing association with scandal. Friends stopped answering his calls. And the once unshakable billionaire found himself isolated, drowning in a sea of accusations and doubt. Meanwhile, Amina's absence loomed larger with each passing day. Her foundation's projects were put on hold, leaving thousands of beneficiaries in limbo. Supporters mourned not only her potential fate, but also the loss of the woman who had become a beacon of hope for so many. Yet amidst the chaos, one question lingered in the minds of those paying close attention. Why leave a note? If Amina truly wanted to vanish without a trace, why leave behind a riddle that seemed designed to draw attention? Perhaps, some whispered, this wasn't just a disappearance, it was a message. In reality, Amina was alive and well, and far from being a victim. Her disappearance wasn't the result of chance or coercion. It was a masterstroke of strategy, meticulously planned down to the smallest detail. For months she had been orchestrating this moment, biding her time, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. The catalyst for her plan came when she stumbled upon Teyo's betrayal. Not with just anyone, but with her best friend Funmi. It was a wound that cut deeper than any financial loss or public humiliation could. Funmi, the woman she trusted most, the one who had stood by her side at every charity gala, who laughed with her over late-night conversations about life and love, had been sleeping with her husband behind her back. Amina didn't confront them immediately. Instead, she channeled her anger into action. She hired a private investigator, someone discreet and highly skilled, to dig into Teyo and Funmi's relationship. What they uncovered was damning. Intimate text messages exchanged during family dinners, photos of secret rendezvous in luxury hotels, even video recordings of their meetings, all irrefutable proof of their affair. But Amina didn't stop there. Knowing Teyo's arrogance would be his downfall, she took things a step further. Using forged documents and cleverly manipulated bank records, she created a trail that made it appear as though Teyo had orchestrated her disappearance himself. Large sums of money transferred offshore, anonymous accounts linked to shell companies, it all pointed directly to him. "He thinks he can play games with me?" Amina said coldly to her trusted assistant, Chinedu, as she finalized the last details of her plan. "Let him try." Her voice was calm, almost detached, but her eyes burned with determination. This wasn't just revenge, it was justice. Before vanishing, Amina left only 2 clues. The cryptic note in her bedroom and a carefully timed phone call to an anonymous tip line, ensuring the police would find enough evidence to investigate Teyo thoroughly. Then, under the cover of darkness, she slipped away. She fled to a secluded island in the Indian Ocean, a paradise hidden from prying eyes. There, she rented a modest villa overlooking turquoise waters, where she spent her days watching the news unfold on her laptop. Each headline, each accusation against Teyo, brought her a quiet satisfaction. From afar, she observed the chaos she had unleashed. Taeyo's once immaculate reputation was crumbling like sandcastles in the tide. Friends abandoned him, business partners severed ties, and the media painted him as a villain. Meanwhile, Funmi, realizing the scandal was spiraling out of control, went into hiding, too ashamed to face the world. Yet, despite the drama unfolding thousands of miles away, Amina remained composed. She knew better than to let emotions cloud her judgment. Every move she had made was calculated, every piece of evidence planted with precision. And now all she had to do was wait for the right moment to reveal herself and deliver the final blow. As she sipped tea on her balcony, watching the waves crash against the shore, Amina allowed herself a rare smile. "The truth always rises to the surface," she murmured softly, echoing the words of her cryptic note. "And tonight the moon will shine brightly." A month after her disappearance, just as the media frenzy began to wane and Taeyo's legal team scrambled to salvage his reputation, a new video surfaced. It arrived anonymously in the inbox of Nigeria's largest news network, accompanied by a simple subject line, "The truth." When the video aired, it sent shockwaves across the globe. In it, Amina stood against a breathtaking backdrop of an orange and pink sunset, the ocean stretching endlessly behind her. She wore a flowing white dress that billowed gently in the breeze, exuding grace and power. Her expression was serene, her voice calm and confident, a stark contrast to the chaos she had left in her wake. "I am alive," she began, her words cutting through the silence like a knife. "And I want you to know the truth." What followed was a meticulously edited presentation of evidence. Text messages between Taeyo and Funmi filled with lies and deceit, photos of their secret meetings, and even video footage of them together in compromising situations. Each revelation struck like a hammer blow, leaving no room for doubt about their betrayal. "He thought he could steal my life," Amina continued, her tone icy yet composed. "He thought he could erase me, tarnish my name and take everything I built. But he forgot one thing, that the queen always stays on her throne." Her final words hung in the air, reverberating far beyond the screen. Within hours, the video went viral, dominating headlines worldwide. Social media erupted with reactions, ranging from admiration for Amina's brilliance to outrage over Taeyo and Funmi's actions. Taeyo was arrested shortly afterward, his assets frozen pending further investigation. His once unassailable empire crumbled overnight, leaving him a broken man. Funmi, meanwhile, vanished from public life entirely. Rumors swirled that she had fled the country, unable to face the shame and ridicule that followed her exposure. Those who once envied her glamorous lifestyle now mocked her as a cautionary tale of greed and betrayal. For Amina, however, this was only the beginning of her victory. Amina returned to Lagos not with fanfare, but quietly, choosing to step away from the opulence that had defined her previous life. She sold her sprawling mansion, auctioned off much of her property, and used the proceeds to establish the Queen's Foundation, an organization dedicated to supporting women who had experienced betrayal, abuse, or injustice. The foundation quickly gained traction, becoming a beacon of hope for countless women across Africa. Through scholarships, counseling programs, and entrepreneurial grants, Amina empowered others to reclaim their lives and build brighter futures. One day, during an interview at a charity gala hosted by the foundation, a journalist asked her the question everyone wanted answered. "How were you able to plan everything so calmly? Most people would have acted out of anger or desperation, but your moves seemed calculated." Amina smiled, a genuine radiant smile that lit up the room. "Revenge is not just an emotion," she replied, leaning forward slightly as if sharing a secret. "It's an art, and I made it my mission. Anger can consume you if you let it, but when you channel it into purpose, it becomes unstoppable." Her response earned applause, but more importantly, it inspired those around her. Amina had transformed pain into power, using her experience to uplift others and rewrite her story on her own terms. Though whispers of her dramatic revenge lingered in society, Amina paid them little mind. She had moved past vengeance, focusing instead on creating a legacy that would outlast any scandal. As she walked through the bustling streets of Lagos one evening, surrounded by laughter and music, Amina felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. She wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. And deep down, she knew something the world didn't. The real triumph wasn't in destroying her enemies. It was in rising above them.